right, all right. I don't know why I do that. I actually do. I'm putting three passions at the same space and time. Music, sharing back with the community, and new ways of working. Why not? Just merging them. And because it's a nice icebreaker and I get so nervous that whatever comes next, I'm gonna be okay. So thanks for those singing along. My name is Artur. You can say Arthur, Artur, Artur, Arturo, Arturito, Atwa, Ata. It's okay. Whatever way you say, I'm gonna look. Don't worry about that. I come from Brazil. I live in Belgium for the last 10 years. I have a beautiful daughter that just became 2 years old in the same day that I became 35. She stole my birthday, but I don't care because it's already the best gift I could ever ask for, so I don't care. I love learning new languages, new musical instruments, and traveling the whole world. And when it comes to career, I started cleaning printer machines, then I went to help desk, then I went to Java developer, and then project manager, and then Scrum Master and Agile coach, and that's what I'm doing for the last 10 years. And in these 10 years, the journey was, how can I say that? Interesting, let's put it that way. I've been in different places, different products, different services, and how, as a Scrum Master, there is only one department that I can work with, right? It's IT. Actually, in the last 5 years, I worked everywhere but not IT. Payroll, HR, procurement, portfolio level, request for feasibility study. I strongly believe that whenever you have people working together towards the same goal, we might consider some of those values and principles. But this journey was not really flowers and a cake and on the beach and a walk on the park, you know these expressions. I had really rough moments, moments that I just look at my toolbox and I'm like, uh-oh, theory, practice, experience, I got nothing. I really cannot go over this situation. So I had to really adapt the tools that I had, the practices that I had, or create brand new ones. And that's what I want to share with you today. They helped me on my journey, and hopefully they help also you in your journey as a Scrum Master, Agile coach, and leader. Want to see them? Yay! All right. Woof. Woohoo! Ta-da! Yes, I came from Belgium. I took 2 trains, 2 hours, and then 5 hours train. And I carry all this because of you. So I really appreciate you being here. That was not easy bringing. It was just for this 5 seconds dramatic effect. Toolbox, wow. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to explain the 10 tools and practices that I have here. And I really trust your memory to choose which ones you want to see first, because you are going to create the agenda of this talk together. After doing a 20-second speech or so for each of those exercises, those practices, those tools, you are going to vote, and I'm going to start by the ones with the most votes. Make sense? Yes. Challenge. Let's take a look at it. Ta-da! Post-it, because I'm agile. I see the room is pretty big, so don't worry. Can you read here? No? No problem, I got you. So I'm going to do a quick pitch. I hope it's going to stand. Little bit. 20 seconds each. See which ones you want to see first, and then we're going to vote. And I start by the ones with the most vote. First one, the gold nuggets. A team that just doesn't have time at all. How can you keep introducing new concepts and new ideas for that team? How can you keep bridging the gap with the teams that they depend on, but the other teams don't work on the same way? So how can you keep introducing new ways, new concepts to keep the ball moving forward in a very nice and chilled way? Same, Training Express. This 2 days training, can you do in 1 hour during lunchtime? Well, I went through a situation that's really the case. So how can you introduce new ways of working one step at a time, slowly, and with Training Express with teams that really don't have time? Weekly challenge. How can you keep introducing new challenges to the team in a very provoking but nice way that you also keep the ball moving forward, one at a week, one at a time? So visual, challenging, and critical way. So you see 3 that really don't have time. But now the meeting killer. We don't have time, we just have too many meetings. Have you ever heard that? Artur, that applies to myself. That is a very visual way to see the meetings that the team has, to score, see the frequency, and start taking decisions on how to improve those sessions, and maybe even annihilate some of those meetings. My own backlog, we talk about, hey, dear PO, you should visualize your backlog, make it very clear, make it transparent, keep it up to date. What about our own backlogs when it comes to Scrum Master, Agile Coach, and leaders? How do you make visual what you are bringing to the team? How am I doing? Feedback culture. You have to learn how to give and receive feedback. Oh, yeah, 360 feedback. Oh, impact feedback. Have you heard the nonviolent communication? What about you? How often do you ask for feedback? So this is a very nice and clear and express way to get feedback from your team and lead by example. The process visualization, from the moment that there is a request, a need, a pain, to the moment it's delivered. What are the steps in between? How to visualize that in a way that is very clear, that you can generate insights with the team, with the stakeholders, with the sponsors, and you start shrinking that mess. Are you getting? Are you following? Yeah, we good? Value and effort. Bunch of user stories to refine. We don't have time enough to refine. Things are happening. We are walking with the lantern, the flashlight on our feet, refining only for the next sprint. How can you visualize that in a very powerful way and have this refinement happening with the whole team? Mini retro for meetings. How do you boost your meetings? A little bit at a time, at the end of each meeting, instead of trying to change everything at once. And client alliance. You are maybe a consultant, freelancer, or internal. How do you manage the expectations from your client, from your boss, when instead of like, Artur, can you go there and scrum the heck out of that team? Can you squeeze agility out of them? Yes. How can you create an alliance with your boss or client from the beginning so you don't pay the price later and you don't have frictions and unnecessary troubles later? Okay, 20 seconds speech on each. Are you ready to vote? So here comes a way to vote. Try to decide. Now I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Decide which are the 3 ones that you want to see. Because very often we say with the dot voting revolution, it's like, hey, 3 dots, you have 3 dots and go. And then the first person goes there, puts 3 dots on one, and everybody's like, I wasn't going to vote on that, but now feels really attractive. And the last person where everybody just voted comes like, wow, wow, wow. I still have my 3 dots. Those items I wanted to vote, but they are already chosen, so I'm not going to spend them there. I'm going to use there, and you change completely the thing. So one way to do that is just ask everybody to make a semicircle, choose whether you're going to vote, 3, 2, 1, go, and then everybody votes at the same time. Close parentheses. Now, I invite you to scan the QR code or go to menti.com, and there you're going to have all the tools and practices that I shared, and you are going to be able to vote. We're just getting started. That's just creating the agenda, and soon we're going to be like sharing one tool after the other. You're waiting for a presenter? That's good. It's intentional. And what about now? Can you vote? Yes. Yay! I'm going to give you 38 seconds. All right. But now I'm going to open exception. I'm going to show you the results as they go, because it's nice to see the bars going up and down. All right, let's see who's in the lead. All right, my own backlog, value and effort, fighting for the lead, meeting killer right before, and gold nuggets. Also, there nuggets, it's a stone, a little piece of gold. It's not the chicken nuggets, just 32, my own backlog. 32 effort, value and effort. And I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. I'm going to take a picture, and whatever is that picture is the result of this agenda. And I'm going to start by that. 3, 2, 1. Call the ambulance. Ugh. All right, we have some winner. My own backlog. Now I take it off. Choop. Ta-da. Okay, my own backlog first, and we see by what you chose first. And I click there, and it comes back to the tool. And there I automated in a way that if I click, it goes directly to the section of the slides about that. Wow! Thanks for joining the session. It's the only thing I can share with you. It's my biggest expertise. How do we make our own work visible? I often, in 10 years at the beginning, I'm asking them to make their work transparent, visible, the backlog and everything, but what about my work? So I started trying to lead by example by putting my own tasks on the expedite lane on top, kind of a fast lane. If I was going to organize a workshop, if I was going to have a one-on-one, if I was going to introduce a new concept, facilitate, whatever's there, I was putting it. I just felt that it was polluting a little bit their board. So I tried to create something different that looks a little bit like this. Before pandemic, yes, it was still on a wall. Here I had the backlog of all the things that I wanted to do, aligned with my client, aligned with the teams, because for me, my backlog as a change agent has 3 main entries. What business and my client is asking for, the whole company has goals, the person paying for me says, hey, we need to do that. Okay, input. The things that the team is feeling, their pains, because we often oversee that, but they are feeling pains, they have issues, so how can we also put that in? And the other one, things that I observe and I feel like it's going to be valuable for them on a daily basis with my expertise. So I try to see those 3 inputs and prioritize my backlog. And there, I just made visual everything. Here, to do, work in progress, and done. Fast lane with whatever fast tasks that I had to do. And here, kind of each user story is one item that I was bringing to the team. If I'm introducing psychological safety, if you are starting test-driven development, I have to introduce that. Or maybe we are starting the Three Amigos meeting, or simply facilitating a feedback session. Whatever I'm doing to bring value to the team, it was visible. Here, it's all the things that I delivered, and I was making sprints of 1 week. So you see here, sprint 20, 21st of January to 25th. And every Friday, I'll just gather the team and the sponsor, and we have like a kind of a 1-hour call. The team didn't want to join that much, and I understand, but it was visible for them. But my client wanted to join. And that was a kind of a review and planning. I was just showing, say, hey, that's what happened this week. That's what I'm planning for the next one. What do you think? I think it makes sense, and somebody from the team would join, and it was always very transparent. But these conversations were happening. So every week, I was planning my own work, not polluting their board, but trying to make sure that they see and they were aligned with what I was bringing to them. And that's it. Here, parking. Yeah, it was there for a long time. Park. So I was also trying to show by example like how to split into chunks that are deliverable. I was trying to eat my own dog food, my own cookie, and show like, yeah, sometimes things are stinking on the backlog. Just park them, put on a sandbox or delete them, and have this constant feedback. And that's it. Any questions? That's simple. Yes?
How do you deal with everything's important?
Well, then I have to also eat my own cookie, right? And start saying, yes, but if you do that, and then I would bring some data, say, like, to organize this, probably I'll take that amount of days to prepare, or they have this pain, what is more important? Sometimes I'll bring the PO and some team member and have this conversation together, because it's, instead of me being the man in the middle, I'll also just bring, so hey, we have this, and my capacity is a bucket full of water. If you want to push something in, put a brick in, water will go down. So what are we putting out? So I was trying to eat my own cookie the same way that I coach the POs. I was trying to bring it there as well. And if there was something really pushy, then we would need harder conversations. We would need maybe more data. Or why do you want to do that? What is the value on this? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? Did you understand his question? It's like, how do you deal with everything is important? I forgot to repeat, sir.
I'm following, if you don't mind, how do you deal with somebody exploiting that to micromanage you?
How would I deal if somebody is using that to micromanage me? How they could exploit me? Are you doing that, or is it enough? What do you mean?
Well, if they essentially come and say, "Oh, look, here's some 5 more post-its that you need, and you need to put them there." And
That was open in a whole floor. Huh? It was a huge floor. It was not a closed room. I knew my own handwriting, so I knew I knew that somebody's had. I'm like, maybe not. But I didn't have this issue. People came, people talk, but one thing I was sure, I was leading by example. My work was transparent. There was no so Scrum Master, what do you do? You know this question, what do you do in your free time? It was there, it was very open, what was achieved, what is the... and by the way, here was a little bit of the acceptance criteria. How do we know that that thing is done? Are we set up the Three Amigos meeting, or are we now starting this new way of working? For how long? Who is working on that or not? There was a little bit of a acceptance criteria. Thanks. Thank you for the question. Any other question? One more question before we go, because I want to share more stuff with you. Yeah?
Did you have an electronic version?
Yeah, I started on Miro. I didn't take a screenshot, but I'm surely going to add to the slides before sharing. But I make visual things I even upgraded. I said things that I want to propose during a retro, things that I want to propose during refinement, things that I want to propose during planning, and things that I'm going to propose in a new ad hoc session. So I had color-coded, and I did a little bit of forecast per sprint. Just, these are the things, and we keep on talking, keep on merging. We really wanted to do value stream mapping right now, but that's really can't happen. Something came up. Move it, shift priority. Another one that moved was also user story mapping, because there is a lot of preparation. People came on holiday and we couldn't prepare up front, so then just shift a little. I'm going to add the picture. Did you hear his question? It's about version online. All right, I want to share more with you. Let's go. I'm going to have some back pain by the end of this. The next one, who remembers what was the next one? Value and effort or meeting killer. Let's go for meeting killer. Is right there. Meeting killer. We don't have time. We have too many meetings. I was tired of hearing that again and again and not being able to do anything. And I think, I don't know what the heck happened with meetings. I think they reproduce during the night. They and then the next day you're there and they are more meetings. What happened? What are you doing during the night? Or a gremlin being thrown on the water. Let me see your age. They reproduce, and they just come again and again, and they just are taking over the whole agenda. And I'm okay, I'm going to try something. Because one of the consequences of that is if you are doing Scrum, for instance, the team perceives the Scrum sessions as on top of their work. It's on top. Well, but that's not the purpose. The purpose of putting that structure is that you kill the other unnecessary meetings. And you keep that constant pace and you keep sharing people instead of meeting, we forgot Michael, and then let's have another meeting with Michael, but did you put on? But there is an email, I didn't understand your email, let's catch up. Let's have that structure, that backbone. So, in order to make sure that it was visible, and also one team member loves that meeting, the other one doesn't, but that team member speaks louder, and it's influencing the rest, I created something that is really like rocket science, NASA stuff. Ta-da! Value and frequency. Okay, it was a bit better than that. Looks like this. At the beginning, it's just empty. And I created one board for each team member. So here you have Scrum-related stuff, team-related, out of the team, and ad hoc. But you know the ad hoc that is always there? So it's always there. At the beginning, it was all empty. I prepared some of the post-its. I gave them some time to add other meetings. And each team member had one specific board for them, empty. Separated in silence, they just scored their own meetings. And afterwards in Miro, you have a very nice feature that is Control F. If you do Control F and if you do Control F, I'm going to leave it. If you do Control F and you type, for instance, retrospective, it's going to highlight all the post-its with retrospective. So you can see across all the team, where is retrospective actually? It's oh, it's pretty high. Where is the review? It's pretty low. What is the meeting to escalate issues with a doc hitting FTT3? It's somewhere very low there, but it's very frequent. So I generated a few insights with the team, and as a facilitator, last chance to take a picture, man. 3, 2, 1. I just generated some insights. So what is the highest value you see, and why? Which meetings are overlapping? What can be merged? What are the frequency that can be reduced? What about the ones that you want to increase the value? It's not that good, but you want to increase. Or what are the ones that we can annihilate? As a facilitator, I was taking notes. I let them choose which ones they want to discuss first. So for instance, you have the daily scrum. I was asking them what they like about it, the green ones. What they don't really like about it, the pinky ones. And then I would ask them an experiment. What do you want to experiment next? An experiment word is key. Many times when you want to introduce something or you want to start, people feel like, oh, it's going to be signed with blood until 2028. No, let's experiment something. So I was asking them, what do you want to try? What do you want to experiment? And somebody said, for instance, turn on cameras. And as a Scrum Master, I was like, Not even as a Scrum Master, as a human, because I see your face now, I see your face. Why not during calls? And I'm like, yes, I agree with, and what do you think? And then I swallowed that, and I'm like, all right, we have a proposal. What do you think? And then some people are like, I think so, yeah, let's do that. And one person was like, yeah, maybe not every day, because sometimes I can't. All right. And I think it's something we can do a lot as leaders and Scrum Masters, not taking over the ownership. Because if I would agree to that, I'll take part of the ownership of that idea. And then they would be looking at me and the person's like, let me see if I agree. No, just let them. Refinement, for instance, they come up with the conversation that it was too separated. Business analysts and developers, it was too separated. We refine, we give to the developers try, and then they test, and then it comes back, business analyst, we didn't understand, what do we do? And then there is back and forth. So they propose, can we refine more together? Single-tiered. And then outside I'm like, what do you think about it? So take notes, facilitate, make sure that it's their ideas, shift the ownership, and it's on there, of course, you can help with. And that's it. That is the meeting killer. Very visual, 1 hour and a half retrospect. I got my day right now. I'm so happy. Thank you so much. 1 hour and a half is not enough, but it's enough to start the conversation. And what I like the most about this is that each person had his or her or their own voice. Instead of one person saying, retrospective always sucks, retrospective is bad, I don't like this, and then the others are like, because it's the team leader, and the others are like, yeah, I agree. So now everybody had a voice, right? And you could score, and sometimes one person is really low. It's like, why is there? Yeah, because you speak too fast, too many acronyms, and I don't get them. So it helps. One question before we move to the next one. Ding. Yes, sir.
What would you do about meetings where you say as a Scrum Master don't have a mandate to even tell the people who are organizing change? Because in our case, sometimes the QAs have like 3 or 4 recurring weekly meetings, which take up so much of their time that I think they're like net productive time days, like maybe 1.5 hours, which is fragmented within meeting time. And while they and we try to bring it up to their managers, often they always have a reason to back up why this meeting is so valuable and useful and why they cannot do it asynchronously.
You were ready, huh? He was rehearsing in front of them. He was like, no, I need to ask that. There, man. Woo. So basically, how do you do when we don't own the meeting?
Yeah, exactly.
I often talk about the circles of influence. In the middle, we can change. The time of our own meetings, the way we use our chair, the other, we can influence. We can talk to escalate, we can talk to the boss, we can come up with Scrum of Scrums or whatever. And the other, Belgium weather. I think I can use this weather as well. Cornwall weather. You can change, take an umbrella, and that's it. So I often talk about that, so we focus on what we can change. And when it's really important like that one, then it's a bigger conversation. It's not going to happen right here. But maybe one experiment can be, hey, what if we facilitate the next one? What if we try it differently? What if we talk to the other boss or the other owners that we share together a way to try something different? What if we do half? Instead of 3 hours, we do 1 hour and a half every week? I don't know. Does it answer your question? And if no, we are going to have a coffee together.
Let's have a coffee. I would like to delve deeper into this if possible.
Yeah, let's do that. Thanks for the question. Let's have a coffee together. All right. The other one was the value and effort, right? It was one of the ones with 33. Value and effort. Long ago, I learned about the value and effort chart. You just put your chunks of work there. Call it user stories, call it features, call it backlog items, whatever. And you visualize it. Artur, I hate story points. We are going to have a whole other session just to talk about it. I think story points is just a tool. Like a hammer, you can build beautiful things, or you can kill somebody with that, right? I use story points to trigger discussions and share knowledge and try to compare the items, what is a pebble and what is an iceberg, and that's it. But let's have a coffee all together later. Coffee. So I learned this value and effort chart that's pretty much like this. And there is a technique called silent sorting. So at the beginning of this workshop, the product owner already prepared the top user stories, the backlog items that he or she wants to prepare, that she wants to discuss. Let's say 30, let's say 40, let's say 50. And in the silent sorting, one person picks up one item and drags and drop where he or she or they believe it should be. Just at the beginning of the session, we have a kind of overview of all the items, and we go slightly deeper on the ones that they have no idea. I say, what are the ones that you have no idea at all what it means? Okay, let's talk a little bit about that. Oh, so it's about this and that. Oh, okay, it's good enough to go? Can we progress? Yeah, okay. Any other item that you need to know? Okay, no? Good. So we have this overview just to get an idea of what it means. And afterwards, each person at a time, imagine that it's physical, right? I take a Post-it, all the Post-its are on the left, I take it and I drag and I put there. Next person, I take it, I drag, and I put there. So they all sort it in silence, and at the end, you have the whole chunk, like the 40 items on the wall. Here comes the second stage. You can use your turn to change a position that you don't agree with. Nah, that one 21? Nah, that one 5? Really 5? Nah, that's way lower. And me as a facilitator, I'm tracking. I'm saying, I'm putting on the Post-it where it was before. And then they keep doing it. Any other moves? No, we good? Sometimes you have the same Post-it coming back and forth, right? Two people's like, no, I don't agree. It's the time to cut. Otherwise, you can order beers and pizzas and be there with two people. I don't agree. You just cut as a facilitator and say, all right, now let's start by the ones that you disagree the most. Some items were pretty disagreeable. So that is what it is. Here, all the Post-its were there before. They moved. There is a color coding, bug, support, what is a user story. We had some guidelines, but that is whatever is applicable to you. So that can be the downtime, how many users are impacted, how much is going to cost if that is not fixed. You choose your scale from 1 to 5. And then at the end, you have a very clear view on what are the items that were really discussed again and again, like back and forth, and you open for discussions. Is it only the PO and the BAs, right? Now, bring the testers, bring the developers, put everybody in the room. So it's a shift left. Instead of analyze, develop, test, oops, and then comes back, you bring this to the beginning, shift left, and have these conversations up front. So they were discussing way earlier. Oh, so that we still have to integrate with that old application? Oh, yeah. So I agree, it's 21. It's a big stuff. It's very complex, very, very chunky. Oh, that one, it's really impactful. It's higher value. So we have these discussions. In this last time that I've done with this screenshot, we discussed like 36 items and went very deep in about 10 items. That's really shared knowledge. And you see that they are clickable. Let me zoom in. They are clickable. So whenever you click, it opens the real user story in Jira. Azure DevOps, Wall, whatever you use there, right? So then when we open the user story, we're taking notes. Because very often you have refinements that people are not taking freaking notes. Requirements falling from the roof, alignment, share knowledge, and then we leave the room. And then we have to do that stuff like 2 weeks later, 1 month later. What is it again? And then you have the same discussions again. Just write it down. So I was really taking notes, and afterwards I asked somebody to take notes, but sharing knowledge, aligning, and they refined. You can call also refinement on steroids if you feel like. I was thinking about that, but maybe that name is not that good. And that's it. So in 2 hours, they shared a lot of knowledge, they aligned a lot, and they managed to prioritize a lot of items and break the wall between developers and analysts, and they were together in the room. Any question before we move forward? You know what? I'm going to share another one, and if you have any question, interrupt me during my lunch, during my coffee. Just come to me at any moment during the party and everywhere and ask a question, okay? Feel very free. I want to share more with you. Remember what was the other one? Which one? The gold nuggets. So the gold nuggets. We don't have time. How do we introduce new concepts to a team that really doesn't have time? Pandemic hit. I was coaching 3 payroll teams. And when you come to really saying we don't have time, that's the closest it gets. People are paying the salary of 2,000 people. And if I come and say, hey, do you have a time to hear the word of Agile? The witness of Agile is here. Can you stop paying people salary? Bow, they'll throw a chair on me. So I really had to find ways to work with them and introduce things slowly. Pandemic hit, everybody remotely. So I'm like, how do I keep introducing new things to them? On top of that, they had other teams that they really depend on. And they couldn't go to an Agile training, Lean, nothing. They didn't have time at all, and they didn't want whatever the purpose, whatever the reason. So I started, and he chose 2-in-1. This golden nuggets, I'm going to give you 2-in-1. Ding, 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 bonus. First one, curiosity time. Every Monday, they had 1-hour call that was 100 people in the same call. 3 teams that I was working with, and a bunch of other people that had to give them who was fired, who was hired, salary increase, and they had to process all this data. And they were like just sharing impediments and sharing knowledge. It was a kind of okay call. And I had the guts to ask for 5 minutes. Can I have 1 slide on that monstrous master slide? After some fight, I managed to get 1 slide. I just need 3 minutes, okay? 3 minutes, okay, let's do that. So, curiosity time was in the middle of this huge call. I'm like, hey, everybody. Curiosity time. You hear often about backlog. What the heck is backlog? Well, backlog is this thing that, well, you have to do, things you have to do before or you must do now. Or, from Investopedia, a backlog is a build-up of work that needs to be completed. And it looks like a pile of things that you have to do, prioritize very well, and you have this deep mnemonic that is detailed appropriately, estimated, emergent, and the factors that we can prioritize the backlog. And here's a screenshot of our backlog. We're using Azure, and here's the link to that. You can use the link because you're going to receive afterwards, and it's fully open. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your call. Cling dong. Really 2 minutes, 3 minutes, huh? Bing. All right. Next week. All right, everybody, curiosity time. And I would play 1 chord of my ukulele. I don't know why. User story. We talked about, maybe we mentioned user story in the back. Oh, it's in the backlog. They are inside this backlog. It's the way we visualize the work and the 3 seasons. Investment mnemonic is that investment. And it's to avoid. That's bad, very bad. That's very bad. And that's what it looks like. Thank you again for curiosity time and enjoy the rest of your call. Ding dong. I did it twice, and then I gave it to the team. Said, I need a volunteer to prepare the next one. I do that with you. So we prepared together. This person presented. I took 1 step back. Next week, all right, who can create and present? And then at some point, I was there just checking if there was any anti-pattern. All right, let's talk about the Scrum Master, Artur. Scrum Master is the person that delegates the task to everyone in the team and makes sure that they deliver on time and scope and resource. No. So I was there just to check how they were, but they took full ownership because they liked it. They wanted to share with their colleagues. They wanted to teach with the people that they were really working closely. And that's it. So recommendation, make sure that it's really short and simple, 1 page, that the ownership is shifted. Maybe you do twice and then it's up to them. You give feedback, just like, and they had also a calendar. Which week, who is going to do that, and what is the topic? They had it weeks ahead. Now, as I said, this is 2-in-1. The other one is called the tea time. What time do you have your tea here? A cup of tea. With a bottle of water. No. What time is it, like 4 o'clock? Well, Huh? Every half. Every time is tea time, sir. In Belgium, they have what is called 4 uurtje. Vier is 4, uur, hour, itje is the diminutive. So it's the little 4 o'clock, where they sit together, they eat some cake, and they talk about things. I created this because pandemic again, no time, how can I keep introducing new things to the team? And every Friday at 4 o'clock, I would send them a link to a video, a cartoon, a word, or whatever that is introducing something to the team. For instance, the first one, I first explained, what the heck is 4 uurtje? And then I would go like, okay, here's the link to Daniel Pink. This video is pretty cool, check it out. I changed the whole company culture, right? No, I mean, it was enough to get some people replying and I was happy with that. For instance, the other one is about innovation. I sent a cartoon. About psychological safety, I sent another cartoon. And I did that for 30 weeks straight. At some point, I was also creating with other Scrum Masters. We were rotating who would do that. But that was a very nice way to keep the ball moving forward. Very often, I would get one person, sometimes 10, sometimes 5, just sending an email saying, like, I like that. Thanks for that. Shit, I'm going to use that even outside work. All right, can we try that next time? So it really helped to keep the ball moving forward. And that's it. The gold nuggets, little things that you bling, drop to the team. Bling, keep the ball moving forward, introducing new concepts to them. Curiosity time to bridge the gap, and tea time. Time for one more? Yeah. Yes! Let's do that. My God, I think I broke something. All right, let's do that. What was the other one? Somebody remembers? Dun, dun, dun. So, meeting killer, my own backlog, value and effort. Then we had gold nuggets. And I think it was process mapping, mini retros. I think we can do both. All right. It's until 5 minutes, right? It's until 15 past 12. Everybody's hungry? I was working in a big bank, one of the biggest in Europe. 2-3 years in IT, working with many, many different teams, different places. Then I was honored to be the first Scrum Master to work with somebody outside IT. I went to business on the corporate side, where their clients were like small clients like Coca-Cola, this little. And when I just champed this, I'm like, wow, there is a lot going on in business before IT picks it up. So I just asked my boss, the stakeholders, can we visualize on the wall from the moment that there is a request to the moment there is a delivery? Can we just visualize on the wall? It's just simple, 5 minutes. 1 hour later, they were still discussing about this. We just visualized. And then you have to create one epic, and then there is one I don't know what, and then there is one pager and steering committee. And then you create another stuff, and what is the team that will do that, and you refine, signature. And then you do, signature of 5 people. Oh, this one was a holiday, let's postpone. And then we do that, and then we do this, and then we keep going. Caveat, what you see there, it's only from business side. So all these steps, until here IT picks it up. So the first thing they saw was already like, ouch. We were trying to squeeze the crap out of IT to be agile and to be fast, but there is a lot of refinement going on here. And that's all I'm talking about 6 months, 1 year to refine one feature. So that was the first like, ay. And one of the things that I do that I love to do in my job is to visualize. So we stop talking about slides or words in the air, visualize, as you could see in the other tools. And the second one, I'm a bit sadistic. I like to increase the pain. Because sometimes it's not painful enough. And how do I do that? By visualizing. So I just said like, okay, so here are the features you are refining right now with your 4 people group. This is what you did, it is what is done, but it's all of that. And I prepared overnight, so when they come in the room again, they're like, oh my God, what is that? It's like, that's in progress. That's what you're refining today. This one is 6 months, that one is 9, that one is 10. They were like, okay, because they were not talking to each other. They didn't know how much plate they had on, how much food they had on their plate. Next steps, you can visualize how long each step is taking, the average, how long is the waiting time in between, and then you can go deeper on there. But just visualizing like this, it's already extremely powerful to generate insights. I'm like, ow, let's work on that. Where is hurting the most? Where can we really go deeper? And then you go. And that's it, just visualize. I really believe that is every cycle, every lead time is like accordion that is super stretched most of the time. Playing a very bad note. Sorry for that, sorry for theirs. And my job is to help them to visualize that, to feel the pain. Is like, how can we shorten this? And like, and try to reduce the waste in all this. All right, once again, ask anything, anywhere, any point. And I think, one more. It goes fast? It goes fast, meaning it's officially over.
But it depends.
Oh.
It's up to you. It's your conference. Do you want one more? Yeah! Hey!
So let's do the following. Thanks for the energy. Don't feel as a hostage here. If you have to give a call, if you need to eat, please do so. I'm not going to take personal if you stand up and go. I'm not going to be like, I got it. We are passing a little bit, so feel very comfortable. And I can share one more with you. Shit, I cannot find back the picture, but there is one pretty awesome here that is very visual. Client Alliance. I see some people, yes! I started with a team. 3 teams, actually. And this big boss that hired me said, Artur, whatever you do in 6 months, can you do in 1 month? I was a young dreamer, and I really wanted the job. So I didn't say yes or no. I was like, yeah. And the person like, okay, and left the room. I'm like, So that person left the room with the sure, like super certain that I was going to do that in 1 month. And 1 month later, she came back. Artur, what are the results? It's been a month. And then she said one sentence that I would never forget. She said, if the results are not there, I'm going to have to pull the plug. And I'm like, took me 3 seconds to understand, pull the plug? Me? Fire? Beep. It's like literally like, I'm like, ouch. So I really had to fight for my job to show the low-hanging fruits that we achieved and what we was going to do still later. But I don't want to hear that ever again. And that's why I created the Client Alliance. And I would never, first of all, say, I was going to say like, no, for fundamental structural changes, we might need months or years. Now, if you talk about low-hanging fruits, yes, we can do that. I would never leave the person leaving the room like that. So here's my draft of the first time I did that. I call her again and say, hey, maybe we need to talk. Let's align a bit on the expectations. So what is your goal, your main goals and wish for the payroll teams? For my coaching to be successful, how should we collaborate, me and you, and how do you want me to collaborate with them? And here, what is a big no-go for you? Something that you say, Artur, please never do that, or I pull the plug. That was very sketchy, very weird, so I created something better. And I also understood that I have to give my expectations to the person. It's not just the boss and the client saying, I expect this and this and you. I said, like, I also have expectations about you. So I created something about hard skills, soft skills or human skills, and big no-goes. So I already started telling my client what I really don't want to see. If you want to give a feedback to the team, if you want to give let's talk first, or like if you want to give me don't do that, this racism, sexism, whatever, like that for me is a big no-go. Even gossiping, even like hidden agendas, never do that with me. It's once and then I'm out. So it was already both ways. So yeah, also me with the person. And then I said, like, I think I need to step up my game. And I created this cute, fluffy, but very visual way of having this working alliance. Soft skills, like, is it great listener, patient, humorous? Is it like hard skills? What do you expect from me as an Agile coach, as a Scrum Master? What is the success criteria? How do you know, how are we gonna know together that I can go somewhere else? That I achieved my goal, because that's my goal as a Scrum Master and Agile coach, is to make myself useless as fast as possible. We plant the seeds together, it goes, it sprouts, and then let's go somewhere else. And there is a little bit the 80-20%. 80%, with just 20% of the effort, we get 80% of the value. But at some point, we are like doing so much work. It's just like 80% of effort, but just 20% of value. Maybe we can jump out before. And also big no-goes. Please avoid that at all. That has been helping me so much, is avoiding so much unnecessary friction. We are aligned from the beginning, and sometimes it's triggering lots of deep discussions just from that. And then you're, so maybe we have to talk deeper about that. And that is the client aligns, and ta-da! So talking about feedback, I really eat feedback for breakfast. I really appreciate if you can give me, I think this one takes 15 seconds to give feedback. So I really appreciate if you can give me this one. You can scan. And this one is cool. Not all conferences ask for feedback at the end, but can be even deeper. So I ask you to give me feedback on this one. And you can scan another one. So you fill this one, please. But there is another one that is even more complete. How was this session for you? What do you think you liked about it? What do you think I could do better? So you're going to scan this QR code, and there is like just an input. It's called tools. You just type tools. And that is deeper feedback. I really want to know, because for me, I want to grow, step up my game every single time. And I know that you really feel hungry right now. For now, I really appreciate your time here. I really appreciate if you can finish that during lunch or afterward at some point. Let me count how many people are here and how many feedback I'm going to receive later. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate your inputs. And once again, interrupt me, just join me at any moment to ask any questions. I wish you a great continuation of the conference. It's one of the best conferences I've been to, and I've been to 150 conferences in the last 10 years in 25 different countries, and this one is pretty much one of the best. So enjoy, and wish you a great day. Thank you.